becoming homeless, got evicted, and was on the streets. But me having the addiction I have to music, I would donate plasma to get studio time. Right, and it would hurt almost, but I really wanted the shit. Like, I believe music is what's gonna. I've been through a lot of bullshit in my life, and this is how I'm gonna get my money back. Like, but yeah, I was going to plasma centers and stuff, and I no longer had my own studio, so I'm hitting up whoever I can to get a studio. And the first person was Ox Dior. That's why I was like, he tried to motivate me, or he was just trying to get paid. I don't know. But long story short, I went to the studio with him, and I have a song called "The Meaning of Life," and I recorded the first part of it, and I recorded the first part of the song. I with it, but I couldn't finish it, and I didn't have the money for another hour at that time. So I had to wait a few days, ended up going to plasma, and the day I got the money, I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. Like, the only way I eat is if I steal food. Like, all the money I get goes to this music shit. And I remember hitting up Ox Dior and telling them, like, man, like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm kind of homeless. I have, the money I got for this session is the only money I got. And he gave me like 6 paragraphs of just how the hunger you get from this shit is how you get to where you're trying to get. And
shit is real.
Not trying to tear it, but man, some real shit, man. Like a long ass paragraph, and I spent the last little bit of my money to get that song done. And I think I had like $50 left, and I gave it to Ox to do the ad libs. But that just to show the hunger I have for this shit.
Oh, that's real, bro.
Man, like, whew. But yeah, but I was still down bad. It got to the point where my grandma kind of seen me in that kind of position, and she she stepped in and helped me out, and got me back on my feet. But yeah, then I went from that to living with my mom. The whole time I'm still writing, but couldn't really get to a studio, and that's when I can say I used to fuck with somebody named Day T, Dayon Trueblood.
I went to school with him.
Yeah, we worked for a while, and I was spending bread with him because obviously I want this shit. I got no problem spending money on this music shit because this is what I want. But it got to the point where I ended up meeting Fuego Flames, and we was working for a while, and then through Fuego I met Master Pharaoh. So over time I just hadn't with him in a minute. And he had no problem with that. I never really heard from bro. He might hit me up to try to get me to do a studio session, but never heard from him. It wasn't until a couple songs after the echo where he kind of reached out to me to do a song, but by this time I'm like, okay, I'm feeling the attention. My inbox is blown up. Right. I want $50, and he had a big ass problem with this shit. I'm like, man, I've spent hundreds of dollars with you, and you hit me up for a feature and can't pay $50. He was like, yeah, but I was engineering music. Okay, I'm writing it,
Yeah.
So no, that's why I feel like that's a bias. Yeah, that's a hot topic, but I'll leave it at that. But fun fact, it is because of him of how I got tied in with Pharaoh though, because I bought a beat from him. He was like, I gotta charge you double because I collabed with Master Pharaoh, and I knew who Master Pharaoh was before he knew who I was. So I bought the beat strictly so I could hit up Pharaoh and be like, hey, I just bought a beat you collabed on, you know, I could get a few more from you, and that kind of started that relationship. And then to carry on, I ended up moving out to Green Valley with my mom, and finally got a job. I'm working this shit. I was like, okay, I'm gonna save this amount of money out of every check, and this much goes to music. I need to drop something every 2 weeks when it comes to videos. So I first, rest in peace, my cousin Vincent did the recording for my first video, and I hit up Master Pharaoh to edit it, and bro plugged me, only charged me like $30, and yeah, that's how I feel like the Kurtis Numb phase got started. Just that speeding past a lot of details, but yeah.
Being homeless, I can relate to you on that. I'm not gonna get into my story because this is your story, but like talk about that a little bit and like explain that time period as far as like, were you sleeping in the car? Were you like sleeping on the streets, sleeping on homies' couches, like, and what made you continue to have motivation to keep going with the music shit during that process? Because it's probably a lot easier to go, hey, you know what? I'm finna just go work full time at a 9 to 5, which isn't a bad thing. We've all had plenty of 9 to 5s, but like, what was kind of that time process like for you, and like, how were you able to keep doing music during that time and stuff like that?
So, like, to answer your question, kind of all the above when it comes to finding somewhere to sleep. At first, whatever guy my mom was with, my mom was some nigga that was selling some shit, so I would sleep in the back of his car while he drive around and make sales. But then I wasn't always able to sleep in his car, so sometime I was messing around with this girl who knew this old black lady. It was her next door neighbor, and she would let me sleep on the couch. And she was like, "You're all good. You can make sandwiches and so like that." She ended up giving me a gold chain that I thought was fake and rocked for a while. But I'm homeless, so I'm walking the gold chain. And I was like, "I'm going to the pawn shop." It was real. Sold it. I should have kept it. It would have been. But yeah, so I was like sleeping on her couch. The nights I couldn't find anywhere to sleep, I just just walk until the sun came up, and then I might be able to sleep on the homie's house. I don't want to, I'll call him Monster, the homie Monster's house. And yeah, that actually got me caught up in some dumb shit, because I'm walking, I'm literally, it's late at night, I'm seeing the stars come up, and I'm just over by the Aurora Mall at Center Point. And some niggas pulled up on me. This shit affects me till this day. Some niggas pulled up on me, they was like, "You need some money?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I need some money." They was doing phone scams. And then I ended up getting involved with that shit. Just to, they almost gave me almost a band. I bought some new clothes and shit, and was able to get food and stuff. But that shit, my credit till this day, like that shit was terrible.
Scams, man. It looks nice in front, and then motherfucker gets you on that shit. Man.
Oh man, that ass. It was a crazy story where I was sitting at a bus stop, just sitting at a bus stop, and a nigga came and sat by me, and he was like, he had like a little meth pipe in his hand. He's like, "You ever smoke meth?" I was like, "No." He was like, he was like, "Me either, but I started it because it keeps me warm." And it was like hearing stories like that. I did not smoke the meth. I didn't smoke that shit. I didn't smoke that shit. Because
there's already enough addictions that are
but just seeing shit like that, it always like holds on to you. Like you don't forget that shit. People having to smoke meth to be warm, being high. They don't want to be cold in the winter time. Like that shit crazy to me. But that time period of being homeless kind of changed how I looked at a lot of things, and how people treat you.
Oh yeah, they don't believe you. Man,
like you feel bad for like asking for the most simplest of shit, and then man. And then the worst part is a lot of people gonna fall off. If you doing good and you got friends, as soon as you become homeless and you can't do as much, you lose a lot of people.
How long is that process like?
Maybe, I would say a year and a half on and off, because I did live at my uncle's house for 1 month during that year and a half. But this answers that question. For the month that I was staying at my uncle's house, he was telling me for the first time, that was the first year I finally got a call from my dad. He was in a mental institution because of his disability and the crime. But having that conversation, I told my uncle about it. He was like, "Don't answer no more calls from your dad." He was like, "When it comes to your mom and your dad, don't talk to them. Stay away from them, and that's how you're gonna better your life." And that shit was off-putting. And I was watching a motivational video of XXXTentacion just saying most motivational shit, and that somehow motivated me to leave my uncle's house, go back to being homeless, and donating plasma to go to the studio. But yeah, so.
You do some crazy things when you're motivated.
No cap. But that's actually, that shit got me a good, start to an extent. I'm not gonna lie, just having that motivation.
How did you get back on your feet and not be homeless anymore?
First, it started with my grandma. I couldn't help it anymore. I hate asking for help. Like, it's hard for me to ask for help, but I called my grandma and I was like, "Can I spend the night to spend some time with my little brother and sister?" And she let me spend the night, and I'm just down near her basement just crying, just bawling my eyes out. And she sat down, she's like, "What's going on?" And I told her, I was like, "I'm homeless." I was like, "I just walk the streets at night, like I have nowhere to go." And she was like, "All right, let's get you on your feet." She helped me get my first job. I was working at McAllister's with all the homies. That is a fucked up place. They got shut down. That's how bad this restaurant was. But yeah, that's what got me on my feet was my grandma. I will always thank her for that. But yeah, I went from sleeping on her couch to meeting the mother of my child, and then sleeping on my auntie's couch with the mother of my child. And during that whole time, I'm like editing videos, or I was recording music still, like outsourcing on Fuego or whatever, and then I was editing my own videos. And you might see like two videos I have like at the early stages of my YouTube. If it wasn't for her, I'd probably still be homeless.